We know that GCSEs aren't for every child, so we're now able to bring some alternative options that might suit your child better. Let's start with VCerts, or vocational certificates. So these are designed to give the learners hands-on, practical learning experiences. Rather than the purely academic courses like GCSEs, these VCerts look at the skills, the practical skills that are available. There are lots of different options within this. You've got health and social care, food and cookery, graphic design, interactive media, childcare and development, lots of different things. The assessment for these VCerts is a mix of exams and coursework, so about 60% coursework, 40% exams. So you can learn the content at home, or this can be in group sessions as well. There's lots of information available on the websites, lots of sample exams, lesson plans, workbooks that you can work to. So lots of help to help your child through this. The coursework is what's known as an NEA, so it's a non-exam assessment, and it does need to be done within our house, our buildings, with an assessor that's not a parent. Unlike some of the other qualifications where this can be done, the portfolios can be done at home, this needs to be done in almost an exam situation, a little bit more relaxed than an exam itself. And then there's the exam itself. The assessments for these are done similar to school assessments in the spring and the summertime. There's a period for the NEA to be done, and the exam is set like everybody else across the country as well. All these qualifications are nationally recognised qualifications, and they are all likened to similar to a GCSE level if it's study at level 2. The VCerts are particularly recognised by colleges, and your child could end up with a level 1 or a level 2 in the award that they want. So suitable for all levels of ability for 14 to 16-year-olds. Functional skills is one that you may have heard of. It's one that adults can do as well as any child from 14. There's availabilities, maths, English and digital skills. You can study various levels up to a level 2. So there's entry level 1, entry level 2, entry level 3, and then there's level 1 and level 2. So a level 2 would be a GCSE pass or above, 4 and above. A level 1 would be a GCSE 1, 2 or 3, and the entry level 1, 2 and 3 are lower levels than that. So it depends on what ability there is as to which one you might want to study. As with all these qualifications, the learning itself can be done at home, so suitable for home educators that want to work at home that way. We can also use tutors to teach the materials in-house as well in our place. Again, there's a lot of information and materials for teaching online. There's the qualification specification, so everything that you will need to know for the exam. And this one is purely by exam. Exams can be done paper-based or they can be done online, but they would need to be done in our centre. They can be done at any time, so you could decide that next week you wanted to sit the exam and we could sign you up for that. There's no minimum age for these, and we're looking to, the cost is going to be about £25 to sit these. We're looking for some funding, but as yet it isn't there. Essential studies or essential skills are another way of a maths or an English qualification. So again, there are the various levels, like the functional skills up to a level 2. So level 2 would be like a GCSE. Essential studies are a bit broader than the functional skills, so give more of a breadth of information. The difference with this qualification is it is portfolio based rather than the functional skills that are exam based. This is portfolio based, and the portfolio can be done in your own homes with the children. The children have to do the portfolio, and you can teach all the necessary information that's needed, and they can work themselves. So it's looking at the practical ways of applying the maths, practical ways of applying the English, and building that portfolio of work for assessment. We would do the assessments to pass on to NCFE so you can get the qualification, or your child can get the qualification. To all work in the portfolio has to be that of the child that they've done, and you could have done the teaching beforehand, so they can fill in that. The website, the NCFE website, has lots of information again, lots of teaching materials, workbooks. Those workbooks can be submitted as the portfolio for assessment by us. And we can also offer tutor classes within our space. We're also looking at options for online pre-recorded classes by maths teachers, English teachers, as a way to pick up that information that perhaps we can't teach as parents so easily. So that might be an option too. We're looking at, for the assessment and the registration, we're looking at a £10 charge only for this one. Any additional tutorials, then there might be an additional cost to that. This is a great way to get my maths and English qualification for a child that would struggle in an exam setting, and also offers that different levels as well for different abilities. Perhaps if your child's not fantastic at maths, maybe the dyscalculia or something along those nature, or even a dyslexia for the English, then they could take the lower level qualification and still get a qualification in maths or English that they might not otherwise get. With this qualification, I'm quite excited about this one. It's what's known as a nested qualification, occupational studies. So nested is you choose whichever modules, whatever units your child would like. So there's lots of different topics, and you can really build it into something really unique. So there's things like floristry, kind of woodland work, ecology, that kind of thing. There's mechanics, construction, gardening, animal care, food and cooking, all kinds of creative, photography, art and design, crafts, textiles, lots of things in with that. And there's things like sports, beauty. There's one about self-tanning, and childcare and developments there as well. So lots of options, and you could pick different modules from each of those, different units from each of those, to make up something unique. There's the different levels again, from your entry level 1 right up to your level 2, and you can do certificates, awards, diplomas. So that means that there's different levels of how many modules you've got within that. Again, this one is another one that's all portfolio based and that can be done at home. No assessors needed to be watching, to be overlooking. It can be done at home at their own time, or in their own, however long it takes. And there are lots of teaching materials available. Again, the units are available and options as well. The costs for this one do depend on the level and whether it's a certificate, award or diploma. It can be from around £30 to around £130. The portfolio is done at home, and we will assess it in-house and pass it to NCFE for their second assessment and award and certificate to be produced. It can be done at any time. There's not a set time that this can be put forward for assessment. So how will this all work? So the costs that we need to process this, we would need to charge you for, and any cost for us to process the coursework and the exams within NCFE, we need to pay for invigilators, or we need to pay for tutors. Then that cost would just be passed on. We're not looking to do this to make a profit. We're not looking to do this to make any money, really. We want to offer the options that are alternatives to GCSEs, as we think that is important. So the learning itself can be done at home for all these courses. You can provide self-learning. We can put pre-recorded tutorials on the website. We can even do in-person tutorials if that's what's wanted. Any tutorials will require us to pay for a tutor. So there would be an additional cost to that. We want to keep costs low, so we think the pre-recorded ones might be a way of doing that because they can be repeated. Another way we think that we can keep costs low is by welcoming volunteer invigilators and parents kind of we all come together and kind of help out. And perhaps you've got a particular skill and a particular knowledge set that you could offer to help teach others. Then perhaps you could get that back from somebody else who has a different set of skills and knowledge and can offer that back. Invigilators, if we all work together as parents as invigilators, I think we could do this without the need to pay for somebody else to come and do it, and keeping that cost really low, and we can give and get back. I know it's not for everybody, but we could do that. The only thing is you can't be an invigilator in your own child's exam, but perhaps we can find a way of doing that. So we do welcome anybody who's got any skills or would become an invigilator for the exams. That just means you just need to sit and make sure nobody's cheating. Then we might be able to go forward with this much cheaper way. But if you're interested in any of these exams, any of these courses, you want to know more for your child, do get in contact. We can set this going very soon. If you're doing it yourself, all we need to do is register you on the website, and you can get going. And we can make a date for assessment whenever you feel ready. So do let me know, see what you think. Thank you.